At 9:30 local time, a Ukrainian drone operator from Baltica crew pulls his goggles down in a concealed dugout near the Pokros front. Routine launch, steady hands, clean feed on a fiber-optic FPV drone climbing east toward a helicopter corridor 8 kilometers away. Unknown to the crew, the Russian Zala surveillance drone, a fixed-wing aircraft that circles overhead for hours with a thermal camera, has already spotted their position. A mortar battery 2 clicks behind the line is computing a shot that will land in 90 seconds. The operator won't see it coming because he just went blind to the real world. The drone screamed east at 50 m altitude. The operator's goggles fill with a crisp feed from the forward camera. Shattered tree lines and collapsed rooftops rolling past underneath. Behind the drone, the fiber optic cable you see here pays out from a spool on its belly. 25 kilometers of glass thread unspooling from the ground like fishing line off a reel into dark water. Invisible the moment it leaves the drone. If you look here at what's strapped to the FPV, it doesn't look like a weapon that can bring down a helicopter. An RPG warhead. The cone-shaped charge from a rocket-propelled grenade. It's zip-tied to the frame with cable ties and electrical tape. The whole package, drone, spool, warhead, camera, costs about $950 and looks like it. Your kid's science fair project has better build quality. 3 years ago, this was a racing drone for hobbyists. Now, it's the cheapest guided munition on the planet, heading towards something that costs 17,000 times more. Battery is full. Heading is 090, 7 kilometers to the corridor. Without a warning, the first mortar round impacts 40 m from the drone operator's position. The concussion punches through the ground hard enough to shake dust from the overhead cover. His goggles show only the drone camera feed. Scrubland, a bombed-out tree line, open sky. The second round lands closer and the spotter grabs his shoulder because they have to move now. The drone operator stumbles out blind, boots catching on. Rubble he can't see. Hands locked on the control sticks. The spotter physically steers him across 30 meters of open ground toward a drainage culvert. A third round turns the dugout they just left into a crater. The drone holds heading at 50 m, steady and obvious to the chaos below. The person flying it sprints for cover without seeing where he's going. They reach the culvert as he drops to his knees, hands still on the sticks. The drone's still flying at 78% battery. If you look here at the cable, trailing behind the drone, that thread is the entire reason this mission is still alive. The Pecos front is one of the heaviest jam stretches in the entire war. Russian jamming trucks wipe out nearly half of all radio-controlled drones before they reach a target. But this drone doesn't use radio. Its controls and video run through a glass fiber barely wider than 2 human hairs. Like a conversation through a tin can telephone, you can scream over a digital signal. You can't scream into a glass thread. But the cable comes at a cost. The spool weighs over a kilogram. Heavier airframe, slower airspeed, smaller warhead. Every gram matters when your entire aircraft weighs less than a house cat. A standard radio FPV carries 2.5 kilograms of warhead at 170 km/h. This one carries 1.5 at 120. That gap in speed and payload will become a serious problem in about 8 minutes. The Mortifier was a nuisance. What's hunting the drone itself is a whole different category of problem. The same ZO that carried in the artillery has now cued something faster toward the drone itself. A shadow crosses the upper right of the camera feed, diving fast from the 5 o'clock position where the camera barely sees. The operator doesn't think he dives. The drone drops from 50 to 15 m in 2 seconds, plunging below the tree line into the clutter of rubble and scrub. The cable catches something on the ground. Motors spike. Spool tensions against the snag. It holds. There's a special lubricant on the fiber designed to keep the thread from sticking when it drags across jump. The thing that's chasing him overshoots high, circles back, and scans the rubble below. Nothing. Too small and too low against the brown-gray landscape to pick up again. It banks north to continue hunting among the hundreds of Ukrainian FPVs the front produces every day, not knowing this particular drone is different from the rest. What just tried to ram the drone out of the sky? That's a Russian interceptor drone purpose-built to chase down and physically destroy Ukrainian FPVs. fiber. Optic drones defeated Russian jamming, so Russia built these instead. Fast drones with a small explosive charge flown by Russian operators who hunt Ukrainian drones the way a hawk hunts sparrows. The interceptor does roughly 180 kilometers per hour versus the Ukrainian drone's 120. A dogfight between two aircraft that costs less than a used car, except one of them is dragging a 25 kilometers leash behind it. Russia's